consoles. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess because
that's
that's the only
about
thing they
it.
have. But I will
Yeah.
say that's one of my secret moves, I guess. One of my secret drills is actually using the rookie aerial training. And I know it sounds weird. You're like, well, why wouldn't you do the all-star or pro training? Well, that's the reason is because this gives you a little bit more time to practice and it gives you more space. So honestly, from just starting from the like fresh, what I like to do is like when I was first learning, I just practiced double jumping with aerials and practiced with ball cam, practiced without ball cam. Then I would practice lining my car up, using my air roll left or air roll right, going upside down. And this will really depend, this kind of exercise will really depend on how hard you want to make it for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you can just continue to just jump and hit it into the net, just like normal, and you're not really going to get any better. But another thing too is I can do my tornado spins, hold down arrow left, and still try to get it on target. That'll help you at least have a sense of like a direction of like, okay, I'm shooting this on a net. It might be a little easier than something like Coco's training, where you're not really, you're not shooting on a net per se. After that. So generally I'd say like when you go for an aerial, you see me jump up, then start to air roll. So a better case would be like in actual free play. Let me see if I can't like do an air roll. See how I jump up and then I do my air roll. Oop,
Yeah.
that way. See how I jump up, tilt my car up. Then once my nose is painted towards the face towards the height of once my nose is faced towards the ceiling, that's when I start to do my adjustments. So a
Yeah.
lot of it comes down to like getting your line of sight first before you start to air roll. Then your air roll in either direction is actually going to be, the small adjustments after that point.
Like, are you use one more primarily than the other, or is it
I've
kind of like?
always been more accustomed to air roll left than air roll right. The same thing
Mhm.
applies to being more comfortable off the left wall because I can air roll a lot better on the left wall than I do on the right. Back in the day when back when I first started, there wasn't even air roll left or right. So like I just used regular air roll for the longest time, and I still preferred to air roll manually to the left. So that still is always the case for me.
Off, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
on the ceiling, like my ceiling shots and most of my air dribbles, I feel more comfortable like staying in ball cam, which is kind of weird.
Gotcha. Yeah, it really depends. Honestly, for like the most part, generally speaking, there's a training pack that I like to go over. It's called Jake RL. It's on the browse tab, so you'll be able to find it pretty easily. It's the third one.
I have it
Yep.
favorited.
So this is one that I used to learn the ground to air dribbles.
Hmm.
And honestly, this is a scenario where like the ball is already straight, the ball is in between you and the net. So I don't have to worry about going left or right, right?
Yeah.
So I can now take ball cam off and focus on keeping my car where I need to be positioned, right? If I go too far ahead of it, now I'm going to let the ball go behind me, right?
Yeah.
If I don't get far enough underneath it, I just let it drop to the ground. So that's where the little tiny adjustments like that let me keep it up. So in a more direct, like ground to air dribbles especially, where it's like just straight to the net, I generally turn ball cam off. But that'd be like one of the scenarios where I'm more comfortable without it. But I guess even like off the wall sometimes, like I usually have ball cam like on the whole time up until like this point, again, where I'm straight on with the goal. Because then I can prioritize like my small touches with the nose of my car.
Yeah, I
So-
feel like that's what I need to do is I need to start learning to transition ball cam off after the first touch.
Right. Yeah, it's not until I get set. Like here I even have ball cam on up until like now. And it doesn't really matter a whole lot for that one, but like yeah, being comfortable, I think the overall like general idea, right, is that you'd be comfortable with both of them, right? Best
Yeah.
case scenario. So yeah, if you find yourself being awkward, just try to force yourself. Like honestly, that's something like this I would still like, practice it with and without ball cam. Something like that. So
Okay.
and this is what I use. This is like my pre-warm up, right? I got like my, like our GCR like training routine that you'll get, and I do this before I even jump into my training routine every day. So this is like my
Okay.
pre warm up, and I do this all the time. This is how I practice my shooting. I'll just constantly respawn the ball and press down on the D-pad. And what this does is see how I tilt a little bit of air roll to the right there? And I always hit it with the corner of my car. I use the left wheel. See how now I'm aiming with, I don't know if you can see my screen, but like I'm aiming with the left side of my tire and I'm using that as an arrow. Can you see my line that I'm drawing?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm using like my left tire, my left part of my car as an arrow to draw or to like point it to where I want it to go. So
yeah. So do you mainly try to air roll shot like that all the time?
All the time. Yep.
Because that's where you get the most power, right? It's the corner of the car.
Correct.
Okay.
So even like, I mean, you can go from like the sides, but like it's also about matching the height of the ball, right? So if I wanted to get like power on something like this, if I go too high, that's where like it's not a very good shot. I guess that was
it's a
decent,
floater.
but yeah, if I do something like that, it's like, okay, well, that's obviously not even close. But then obviously the more common one is when you do something like that, where it's just hitting it to the ground. So the main part is to just hit it with power without hitting the ground, like something like that. You know, that's a little bit more applicable in a game at a higher level.
Okay, so that's how you're getting all those power on those shots.
Yeah. I know, there's my secret. Like, dude, like something like that. That's more,
okay.
That's what you'd probably see in like an in-house game or something, right?
Yeah.
And see how the main priority here is to match the ball height, right? So anytime you think of like, okay, I'm in net, I'm going for a save. Well, I have to jump up and tilt my car back to meet the height of the ball. If it's higher than that, then I have to double jump and face my car up like this, right? So it's all about meeting the height of the ball. Let me see if I can. So if I'm underneath it, like it's all about just driving through the middle of the ball. Actually, you know what? I can give you a better example with rebounds. See how I'm driving my car through the middle of the ball?
Yeah.
That's the exact thing right there of like compounding. I'm using that movement that I just said, that drill from shooting on the ground. I'm applying it to hitting rebounds and stuff on the wall to set myself up. So now, again, see how I'm air rolling? Again, I'm using the left corner, hitting the middle of the ball, and I'm able to follow through now, and that's a perfect rebound.
Okay. Yeah, perfect rebound into double tap.
Yep. And I mean, I could do this shit all day, right?
Okay. Man. Bang.
So I like to try to at least explain like those small adjustments, right? Like using my air roll, and then I use the left corner to drive it through the ball, and then I'm flipping. So like if you think of like the circle being like your stick, I'm actually holding my stick right here, like up and to the left, so that way I drive and I flip my car through the ball as much as I can to generate the most amount of power through it. Then it's just the follow through.
Now, when you first come off the wall, or you pull like on that left wall, were you pulling back into the right a little bit to set up the air roll shot, or how did that?
So yes, so when I jump, it's all about jumping. See how I tilt back? My first priority, so like I actually did a session with Snipes, and he had the same question. I actually showed him how to do rebounds, and he was fucking ecstatic. So when you first come up off the wall, and the ball will be out this way, so you're more likely to go out across the field, right? Like, so the ball would most likely be here, and then I'd be hitting it this way. But if you want to hit it, like if the ball is here and my car is here, I obviously have to like aerial around to the back side of the ball to drive it to the backside, right? To hit it on the backboard, out back, to get a rebound, right?
Yeah.
So when I jump, I'm tilting back and to the left. Yeah, to get behind the ball now. See, and then now I can use my right flip.
Yeah, and it would be just the exact opposite on the left wall.
So
right?
when I jump, see how I'm tilting my car back? So again, this is the same thing that I just said. As far as making saves, I'm gonna kind of see how I jump and tilt back. I didn't air roll or anything, but now I'm already in between me and the wall in the goal. Whereas if I don't jump and tilt back, I'm gonna be something like that.
Yeah, which is not good.
Right.
No bueno.
So when I hit the ball, I have to just tilt my car back, then I flip left. And there you go. There's your rebound.
Man. Tell you what, when I can hit those that consistently, I'll be good.
Well, I hope it shows right in my gameplay and even in here, right? It shows how much work I put into it. So I hope I'm not like, you know, just blowing smoke up your ass. Like, it
No,
shows.
no, you're like definitely like I think everybody that we play with will agree. Like, there might be some people that try to be more mechanical, like freestyle looking, but like I don't think I've ever seen as clean of gameplay that you have. Like,
Thank you.
just your shot consistency and your positioning on the walls and your reads are just, yeah, dude. It's
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
you're like a you're like a Lethamere, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, for real.
All right, so that kind of covers the air roll, and like, honestly, even getting like a shot like that, I'm still, even on those bounce shots, I still always try to drive it through the corners and just drive through it. So that's really just kind of comes down to the shooting, you know. So that's kind of like where the air roll, I think a lot of people when they switch to air roll left and air roll right, they're like, okay, well, I want to, you know, they do the rings maps and they try to like incorporate it and they try to hold it down a lot, but that's not really, it's not all that applicable in game. Something like this and like practicing your shooting, that's a lot more reasonable, right? Being able to just air roll and get those slight adjustments on the car, that's a lot more applicable to a game.
Mainly the biggest reason why I've been trying to learn it, like in the rings maps, and the thing I started doing was because I heard ahead of time that we were going to be doing the rings maps, you know, forwards, backwards, and then sideways.
Yep.
Was that I wanted to get a head start on that, so I started doing front and then back.
Yep.
I haven't got to the side yet, which is kind of,
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of AIDS, but
I got you.
The biggest reason why I wanted to do that is because I want to try to get better at air dribbles. Like I've worked on my dribbling skills quite a bit. I've worked on my like my ceiling shots quite a bit. They're still not where I want them to be, obviously, but like I feel like air dribbles have been like the hardest thing I've had to try to keep consistent.
Okay.
And now that I'm getting better at them, I'm trying to just work it like doing it with directional air roll, because I just see the amount of control it gives you in a dribble. You know what I'm saying? To put the ball where you want it, and it just seems like it gives you better control over the ball when you're in the air.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
For like
so
fast finesse adjustments.
yep. So I guess I can do my quick, what I'm gonna call the universal setup, not just for like the rebounds and like what do you want to call it, like air dribbles and stuff, but this is like a universal setup for anything from passing to jump resets to ceiling shots, etc. So I'm gonna kind of break it down. I'm gonna kind of treat you like a toddler for a second, and if you bear with me, I'll apply it to everything. But typically, you know, like when you think about making a play on the wall and air dribbling, it all comes down to the actual dribble and the setup, right? So if you can't get a good setup, you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot from the get-go, right? So what I actually prescribe a lot of people to do is try to dribble without ball cam and do it without boost. So since I've just been dribbling for the last little bit, I'm not using any boost whatsoever, and I'm able to keep ball possession pretty cleanly. I can flick it and still keep ball possession without letting it dribble or drop to the ground. So I can do figure eights, I can do circles, and this is kind of what I expect a lot of people at higher ranks to be able to do as well. And I'd say that that's what really, it's not only being able to be consistent at being fast level at a fast pace, but also being able to slow it down and being able to keep control a lot of the time, you know?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me with my dribbles is like I can do that, but like the biggest thing, like how you were flicking and then catching, and then just like so effortlessly, and then like you said, like when you're going fast, the ability to slow it down and turn it. Like I feel like out of some of the lower seat, like lower champs, like I have a better grasp on it and like certain flicks, but I still don't have the ability to like control the ball necessarily dribbling and like gain speed or slow down the way I should. Yeah.
So honestly, I think, like I said, I'm going to start from the bottom literally and work our way up. So most people, what I say is if they have a hard time dribbling, get ahead of the ball. If it's rolling in one direction, then turn ball cam off. And all you should really have to focus on now is keeping all four wheels inside the circle. And then at that point, it's just, you know, try to score it and try to go down the whole length of the field if you can, right? So once you're able to just get it on top of your car, okay, well then if you're comfortable dribbling it down the field, then try to add turning into it. So trying to now get it rolling instead of going ahead of it and turning around, we're getting on the side of the ball. This is where matching the ball speed really comes into play here. So if it's going this slow, you have to go this slow. Then if it's on your left side, you turn left, try to get into it. Again, notice how I'm able to pick this up without using any boost. It's being really efficient. And then also, I'm going to add on to that now. I'm going to compound these movements, and I'm going to add, doing circles like I'm just doing now. Being able to do this consistently on both sides, doing figure eights, doing circles, whatever, without letting it drop, and without doing or using any boost either.
Now, are you drifting just a hair
Nope.
in like some of those turns?
Right now, I'm not.
Okay.
The slower you go, the tighter you can turn. So I can literally like turn really tight like this. I'm not drifting whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah, I think I need to practice that, like you were saying, like being able to catch it, like to put it up on your car without boost, because I feel like that's what I do mostly now. Is like I can turn, put it up on my car, without having to do any drastic changes, but I'm using boost to do it.
Right. So,
and then usually, I think that's where the speed, like you were talking about, being able to come into it is like when I give that little bit of boost to get it on my car, sometimes that's a little bit too much, and then I'm having to try to settle the ball.
Yeah.
And so I see how cleanly you're doing it. It makes so much sense.
Yep. So I'm going to compound. I'm going to add another movement to that now. I'm going to keep going. So now if we're able to not only pick the ball up and also kind of go left to right, if you're able to go left to right pretty cleanly, well, now look what I'm doing. I'm bounce dribbling pretty much. And that is, dude, think about how scary this would be as a defender on the blue net right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can imagine it in an in-house game. Like, bro, that's menacing, right? It's scary to like think of like, okay, what that looks like as a defender. Like, you have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I could fake it at any point. I could flick it at any point, right? But that comes with not getting rid of the ball, right? Being comfortable, being friends with the ball, being able to push it around. Being able to dribble it and being able to keep it really close to your car, right? And then I can flick it. And then I go for the air roll shot. Again, there you go. That's more applicable to what I would do in an in-house game. Then we apply, like I said earlier, the air roll shot with the corner. And one thing I wanted to add here on this before I move on is notice how I did a side foot flick. Most people think that when they need to push on and make a shot, they front foot flick. Well, now look I'm getting rid of the ball. I can't really follow up. My best opportunity is to hit it left or right. But instead, if I side foot flick this, now look. That's a lot more deadly because I can follow it up. If I'm already pushing towards the net, like look I'm already driving towards their side. I already have forward momentum. Why do I need to get rid of the ball? All I need to do is get it over somebody. So if I'm able to draw out a defender and flick it over him, but then also be able to follow up and get it past the defender, well, now I just made it a 1v2 play. Or a 1v2 outplay. Right? And that's the difference. That's the Grand Champ, like, offensive capability, right? That's the difference. And that incorporates everything. Like I said, being able to, like, anytime you give me ball possession, anytime you give away the ball or go for a bad shot, I grab boost. I'm able to, take my time, dribble it really close, get it around one guy. Okay, well, now I can dribble it, get it around a defender, right? And I can keep my space, whatever I want to do, right? It's just being able to keep that ball control. So it actually applies in-game a lot more than you think of just being able to do this small stuff. Because then it compounds. Like, all these plays don't just magically pull themselves out of a hat, right? They got to start from somewhere. So, yeah, if you're just front flip flicking and like that, it's like, okay, that might be a good shot, but I'm getting rid of the ball. When a more effective play would be get it past one guy, then get it past the other guy. Rather than just always having a back and forth. So that's the difference between like champ gameplay and like higher level gameplay. Shit, what was I gonna say? Okay, so now that we've learned how to pick the ball up and we've learned how to do those dribbles and doing circles like this, I'm gonna add another movement. I'm gonna compound my movements again, of being able to pick it up from the ground and flick it like that, all without boost. So notice how once I've got it dribbling towards the net, I mean, I can use a little bit of boost here and there, but like, The idea is that when you pick the ball up, you're able to follow through and really drive your car through the ball. And look, I'm able to get it pretty high over defender. Something like that.
Yeah, I've seen some people, like probably you. Like
Yeah.
I go into a corner to challenge, and you
Just
do
immediate.
that. Yeah, it is like fuck.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating, right? But this is literally what I do. Like being able to, okay, I see you coming. All right, get it over you. Okay, now I got some space. Now you're no longer a threat. You know what I mean? Just being able to pick it up and side flip flicking. That's why I said, like, side flip flicking is so much more deadly than anything else. And actually, in ones, a back flip flick is even more deadly. But
yeah, I've noticed that. I have a hard time with the backflip flick though. Seems like when I do them, I always for some reason I always end up putting them on the back end of my car, and when I go to flick, they like get spacing, and then just
Right.
I don't get the flick.
So, again, the compound movements, being able to pick it up off the ground, really driving your car through the ball, and being able to really drive, using boost properly. A lot of people think that flicks are just, okay, I got it in position, now I just double press X and I can get a flick. It's like, okay, yes, but you got to think more deeply than that. You got to really know, okay, if I really drive my car through the ball and I get the exact amount of touches that I want, if I use this amount of boost, I know exactly where the ball is going to go.
So now when you're catching those in the corners, right, with like no boost, and you go to do the side
Bro,
flick.
dude, look at that.
Jesus.
I used what, 5-10 boost to flick that?
Yeah. So like when you're catching
bro,
those
that
on
almost
the
hit the
side
ceiling.
like that,
Yeah.
and you're flicking them instantly, are you waiting till just the second before it goes to cross over the edge of your, like, the
Yep.
side of your car?
Yeah, so here, let me actually, so when you flick, oops, that's not what I wanted. When you flick, like from sideways, right? You want the ball to go along the length of your car, like this way, right? So if I have the ball here, when you go for a side foot flick, like I'm actually going to barrel roll my car to the right, but like the ball will go left, right? If I go and I have the ball along the length of my car, that's where you generate the height from. So that's why like I use that's why like front foot flicking is actually most effective when you have it on the corner of your car, because it can go along the length of your car from front to back, because that's longer than just, straight back. And then that's also longer than going sideways. But you want the ball to go along the length or the width of your car from side to side. So the most effective way is like, probably just after halfway.
Okay. Yeah, because I was watching you do it closely, and I'm like, just before it starts to break the edge of the corner,
It really depends,
flicking
honestly.
it.
So like if I have the ball on top of my car already, I don't want it to go over, because then I'm just gonna do that.
Yeah.
So it really depends, and that's why I said, okay, you really gotta pay attention and really just feel. I know I'm being really vague here, but I don't really have a better way to describe it. You really have to take their time and be like, okay, it's really on the side of my car now. I can really drive my car through it. See the difference there, where I can actually allow myself to go like left a lot, whereas here I can't. Like if I go too far left, I don't have any power. I don't have any of the touches that I want. So if I already have it on top of my car, I can't really do a whole lot. I just have to flick it right away. It just depends on the positioning, of where you have it on your car already and how much momentum you have, right? There's so many different factors, but yes, if you're picking it up off the ground, you generally want it to like go along, halfway.
Yeah, just before it crests over the edge of your hitbox on that side.
Yep.
So that you get that momentum of the actual of your car turning to actually push through it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now that we talked about that, this is all a precursor. This is all like, episode 1 before we even get to air dribbles. This is literally all just control, but this is all the requirements before you even get to air dribbling. Okay, so now say we can dribble. All right, I'm bumping this skill level up now. Say we're able to dribble it. Generally speaking, I want to keep about a car length or 2 of space between me and the ball. The reason for that is if you have constant touches like this, you don't know when your last touch is going to be, and you're basically hitting it. See how I hit it to the ceiling? That's not very favorable for me. So why add unnecessary touches? Because now anywhere in between here, this line, and this line is a different angle on the corner that, like, I don't need that unnecessary, I don't need unnecessary touches in there. So I'm not even going to touch it right there. Once it gets above that wall, or above that line, that's when I hit the ball.
Yeah, you
So-
socked the shit out of that ball. I've never seen somebody do an air dribble like that.
So
That first one was awesome. I have it.
oh, thanks. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of exaggerate how slow you can go. I'm not even gonna boost on the ground here. I'm just gonna go driving speed. I'm gonna brake a little bit just to get that distance. Then I boost a little bit, and look, I'm already above the goal.
Jeez.
I boost just a little bit just to get a little bit of height, but dude, that's like 10 boost right there, 5 boost. Then I use the rest of my 80 that I got. Boom. That's when I bring it in. So you don't need to be going that fast. So when you're practicing these in free play, don't go that fast. Like, you literally can slow it down. Your height, if you're gonna air dribble and use your height to your advantage, why waste that? Like, what I see a lot of people do is they do something like this. They'll have their angle, then they'll turn. Oh, let me see if I can do it a little more exaggerated. They have their angle, then what they do is they go right, and then they go left and try to hit it towards the net and have forward progression. It's like, if you're going up the wall, why are you just killing your height and drilling it towards the net anyways? Like, a lot of people tend to do something like that, and then they're like, well, what the fuck? I didn't get a good setup. It's like, well, yeah, you dumbass, you didn't take your time. So if you have an angle like this, don't turn your car whatsoever until you get in the air. Generally speaking, right? You can get away with it, if you're higher level and you're used to making these adjustments, but like, generally, I can follow this line. Your adjustments are actually going to be made in the air. So if you get a setup, you have to be disciplined to not change your course of direction on the wall. Your angle of approach should not be changed, really. Like, I get my angle, and that's again where the dribbling comes into play, right? Of being able to get that set up. Like, I'll just use this angle, for example. It just matters of, like...
Now, do you always leave the wall instantly, or are there times when you're doing, like, rebounds or, like...
So... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, I've had times where, like, and I've seen other people do it, where you, like, hit the ball at more of a steep angle towards the other side of the field, and then, so it goes rolling up the wall at, say, more like a 45 instead of, like a...
Like a 90 or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. And so then they get that touch to separate it from the wall, and they wait for a second and then jump and adjust and fly out to it.
Something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, or like even more exaggerated, like they're coming like kind of like pushing it up the side wall, you know what I'm saying? From
Yeah, like from downfield or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
downfield.
Yep,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yes, there are times when I do that, but not for air dribbles. So when I'm doing this, so I get my 1 to 2 car lengths of space. Most of the time I don't actually press brake, I just let go of the gas for a second to get my distance. And dude, you can see the consistency on this. I can do it literally every single time. So generally speaking, when I go for this kind of like air dribble setup, I generally hit the ball and then jump. What happens if you jump too early, I've seen a couple people do this now that I've coached, is if you hit the ball and jump, like, see, my car doesn't quite to get the right landing, and sometimes your car can even like rebound from the hit off the ball, like where your car will like jitter. It's kind of weird. It's very like that. Like, I didn't really take a clean landing off the wall, like how I wanted. So I want to hit the ball and then jump after it pretty quickly. It's like maybe a 10th of a second, 20th of a second, right? But it's very slightly after I hit the ball. So the point that you said about waiting on the wall, I actually apply that more if I'm going to go for rebounds or a center pass like that. You typically hold on to your position on the wall until you make a play like that. Because, for example, if I wanted to pass to my teammate here going to orange net, if I jump right away, well, now I can only really have, like, me jumping is a commit in and of itself. So if I'm trying to, say we're going to blue net now, if I don't jump, I can wait and I can read where he's going. Then I commit. Then I jump off the wall and flip.
That makes so much more fucking sense, bro. Yeah. You just blew my mind. Because, like, there's been times like that where I take it up on the wall, I pop it off, and I'm like, I have a general idea of where my teammate's at, but I'm not, like, really reading where I need to put that ball.
Right. Yep.
And, like, I think I felt like I've done pretty good job so far of like trying to treat it, but that makes so much more sense.
Yep. So that's when you take your time to actually get the read. Like, okay, he's actually more underneath me. I can hit it down. Right? That's when I make my adjustments when I need to. Like, okay, he's actually across the field. Like, I'm going to try to hit it back. Don't hit it towards the goalie. Right? Then you make your adjustments. That kind of shit. Right? You make those, like, split-second decisions. Okay, he's across the field. Boom, there we go.
When you're doing that right there, exactly.
Yep.
I guess you don't want to waste too much time because then that's going to give the opponent time to read what you're actually doing.
Yeah. I mean, in twos, passing is not really a good idea, to be honest with you.
See, that's so weird because
really
like I feel like I enjoy so much like team plays and passing in twos. Like and that might be also because like I'm really good at like getting offensive down the field, like getting the ball down the field, and then putting a shot on backboard that makes them commit or something to that nature to where my teammate can take the shot.
Right.
But like, I guess maybe my 1v2 skills, like my mechanics just aren't good enough really to feel comfortable 1v2ing all the time.
So I'm not going to lie. I thought that as well, like for the longest time. Oh, that was fucking clean.
That was sexy.
I just want to watch that. I have a big ego.
Dude, walk it, bro.
Nice. Crossbar down.
I was practicing double taps the other day, like, because I've just never really practiced them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of weird. I guess that's kind of weird to say for a C2, but
I don't think so.
It's like I was practicing right in like double tap playground, and I accidentally caught my first ever flip reset, like ever.
Really?
And so I had no idea what to do with it, right? My muscle memory just kind of kicked in, and I backflipped, and I reset mustied into the net, bro. I was like, what?
Oh my, nice, dude.
Dude, I have the clip up. I mean, it bounced, but like I shit my pants, dude. I was like, what is this?
Oh, I bet. That's awesome.
Oh, dude. And I could never do it again if I wanted to, because I don't even try using flip resets, dude. Oh, it's so funny.
All right, so I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
We were talking about the spacing on the wall to pass.
Yep. So yeah, that's really where you hold on, like, because every jump on the wall, like you're committing to that angle. Then you don't really have a whole lot of correction at that point. So yeah, if I see my teammate is actually across field, like, okay, well now I have to air roll and hit it across to him, right? That kind of shit. So that's that split second decision making, but that's where the air roll left and air roll right really comes into play, because then I can do like a tornado spin off the wall and an air roll left to just a little bit over correction to get it back. So like that's those like adjustments where like you don't need to hold down air roll. It's like, okay, well, let me do a tornado spin, get it down midfield for my teammate. And that's all your air roll needs to be, right? It doesn't need to be holding it down and freestyling and shit. That will come with time, right? As you practice your air dribbles and as you get comfortable, spinning in the air, then you can just, you can do an air dribble like this, holding down air roll the whole time, right? Then you can do that.
Okay.
But the more effective play is to use it to pass to your teammates, use it to shoot. Remember the drill of pressing down on your D-pad, using that type of shit. Use air roll left and air roll right just as little adjustments to be able to hit it with power like that, off the wall and to the ground. Like being able to shoot like that with power. Like, dude, that's why you compliment me and I really appreciate it. Like, dude, and like Lester does too, of like my accuracy. Right? Of
yeah,
being
dude,
able
it's just fucking...
Right. I placed it there exactly where I wanted. Again, I used my top left wheel, my front left wheel, to aim exactly where I want it to go. Right? So, yes, it all comes down to practice, right? And how much time, how much work you want to put in.
Yeah, it's like the only other person I think I see in the program that actually kind of plays like that in that same style is like, and not necessarily because I feel like he's more sloppy too from what I've seen him play, is like Randy.
Oh,
but that's just because
he does. I honestly think he plays a little sloppy too. I have that same opinion.
It's like it really is, because like the only other person that I see that plays like you, like, I'm not gonna say Flakes because I like Flakes' style, like as far as a strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not anything like crazy. Like he's just not committing because,
Yeah, he's like
That's a
500.
lot of
He's
his
like
play.
5 head.
Yeah, and like, but with yours, it's like Lethamyr. It's like you don't expect it coming because it's so clean and so like I don't want to say non-mechanical, but it's to the point where it's like
Your movements are only exactly what they need to be.
yeah, and it's nuts.
Yep. I
I mean, it
appreciate it.
really is.
I love Lethamyr.
It's really because like you watch Leth and it just looks like the most effortless it could be,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's like I don't know how you get to that. Like how did you get Lucifer's number and how do I call him to sell my soul? Like
Right, yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the type of that's your gameplay is like what I strive for because like I don't like I feel like when I play ranked,
Yeah.
like I want certain mechanics like the ability to air dribble with air roll just
Yeah.
for the control it gives me, not to be a freestyler.
Right.
Like and like to play like that, to be honest, like
Right.
because you just don't get more efficient. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like you get any more efficient than that.
Yep.
Like if you need to, the mechanics are there.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like that is going to be more consistent than any type of mechanics would be.
Yep.
I feel like.
And I'm gonna let my stats speak for themselves. I have a 3-goal per match average. 3 goals every game.
God.
My win percentage is almost 80%. Maybe exaggerated a little bit, but like, yeah, I do think it is effective.
Holy shit! I didn't even see the 78.2% win percentage, dude. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, literally. Yep.
Like mine used to be higher, which was crazy because like most of the people at my rank, like high diamond at the time, low C2, mine started coming down now that I'm starting to go up in the rank a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was the same thing with my goal percentage. Most people were like 46, 47, like
Yeah.
maybe 50.
Yeah, 40s,
And then
50s. Yeah.
then mine was always like 54,
Right.
like 55, and now it's come down. I'm at like 51, 2 or something, but it's still higher than 50%.
Yeah.
And dude, I've never fucking, especially at your rank, I've never seen 78.2. Holy.
Yeah.
People probably call you a Smurf all day long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. One of the best compliments I ever got was being called a Smurf in a GC2 lobby. I was like, oh, thank God. That's the best thing you can ever get is like fucking somebody calling you a Smurf at GC2. I'm like, thank you.
I'm not, but thanks.
Yeah, thank you. You made my day.